Let's see, I think this should be good here. Get this going here. Oh, this is a little bit crooked here. It should be fine if we do this. There you go, that's more like it. Okay, I think we're good on both ends. That, all right. Very good. Let's make sure we get this open here as well. Okay. All right, and I think that should about do it there. My dashboards aren't exactly working the best right now, but okay. All right. I think this should be good for this. All right, so let's see, let me get my brushes here. So this is actually our first time we're actually painting here. So hopefully everything should be looking fine. Yeah, actually this is also gonna be my first time painting my Dark Angels models. We're actually just gonna be doing, hopefully something that would be looking nice. We got this Inner Circle Companion guy right here. We got 3 of them. So see how much we can get through for today before some people get back to me on actually playing some games. So for this right now, again, my idea is that we obviously get a lot of green on the shoulder pads, a few details there with the whites on the swords, and then a bit of the reddish purplish robes that are normally there. I should have a silver base. I can get started with the sword, but I need to double check what other paints are available to get better effects on the great Calibanite swords that these guys have. So to get started here, I think I want to start with a nice base of the, if I don't hit my camera, that's some Caliban green to get started with. So let's see how we can get this going here. And my painting is not exactly the best. Again, it's just good enough for me to at least put them on the board. I'm most experienced. I've been painting a lot of Tau models because that's the ones I currently have a full army for. And then we'll be going on to getting some Dark Angels guys up here. So let me get started. Let's see if we can get some Calibanite green onto the wet palette here. I'm going to take this section right here. Let's see what I can do. I personally like using wet palettes a lot more than actually getting paint straight off the pot, especially from Citadel. And I like the paint bottles actually a lot more from like War Painters and AK, where you can just squeeze the paint directly onto the actual palette itself. But I think for this will teach me to be a lot more conservative in that sense with being able to spread the paint out a lot nicer. So let's see here. Yeah, we might get started with this section here. I think my lighting isn't the best. Let's make sure that everything's in focus here because it's a little bit difficult sometimes to show exactly everything that's going on here, especially if I'm going to start whacking my camera. Let's see here. I'm going to get the backgrounds of the shoulder pads. I think the edges or the trim on the shoulder pad, I don't even know what good color I would have for that, so we have to get used to that. So start with some Calibanite, and then I have a dark green from AK that I think I can layer on top to give it a bit more of a pop to it, but for now, we might as well get started with this. I do need to get used to being able to paint with a camera in my face, but nonetheless though, it should be looking like it. My camera's autofocus isn't exactly the best. I think I need to learn how to be able to focus it manually maybe next time. Okay, yeah, these parts will be hard to reach actually given the placement of his power pack. That's a bit unfortunate, but I think we should be going all right here. See, this lighting isn't. Okay. What in the world? Did one hair of the brush fall off? That's awkward. See if you can see that. Again, everything's, even though I'm trying to show close to the camera, it just is out of focus, but that should be an okay start on the shoulder pad there. Let's try the other one now. This one should be a lot nicer. Yeah, I think we definitely are going to need a number of layers. And the detail on this camera is not the best, but we'll have to make do for now. I need to get behind his sword. Looks all right there. And do I need to move this closer a bit here? My own desk light is kind of betraying me right now. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, yeah, it kind of dulls out a little bit after it dries, that dark Caliban green here. So let's see, can another layer on back to this shoulder pad help us out here? It'll have to do for now. Okay, so he's got an arm guard out here. There's this pot here. This one can definitely be painted the dark green as well. So let's give that one a go. We need a bit more paint now from the pot. Okay. So let's see what we can do here. Yeah, unfortunately the camera does not do a great job of showing it, but whatever. It'll all start coming together. Maybe if we can start getting some lighter colors in here as well. Okay. Not the worst there. Let's see if we can get a bit of now the chest piece here, where he's got the collar before we get to the sword and wings on the actual chest plate itself. At this point, I'm not really looking to get the detail of painting any of those studs that are on that collar. We're just gonna go straight across. Okay, that should do for that. Okay, we might as well experiment to get this going now. I really want to really get these shoulder pads to pop a bit more on this side, so I think I'm gonna go with a layer right now because this part has dried. So let's see if we can get a layer of some of, I have an AK painting dark green. I want to see how that looks like. Let's go ahead and have a look here. I'm gonna get this brush cleaned off. I'll get a double with that. Now I just want to see how that effect looks like, if it's any good at all. Okay. So we have here, we picked this at the store the other day. So it's acrylic, so it's acrylic paint. So not Citadel, but they have this dark green that looks pretty okay in real life. Again, it's really washed out in the camera, but we'll give this one a go. And let's see if we can try to see what the layering of those two paints really helps us out with or not. Okay. So let's go back to this shoulder pad here. So we got one coat of the Caliban green on this, and then now we're gonna get a coat of the AKs. Yeah, it's started to come out a little bit more, but I doubt how well that's going to show up on camera here. This being a little bit more of a runny paint, hopefully this can get into the cracks that I need it to. Is it really getting where I need it to go though? It's coming along. Can I really get underneath that section? No, there's no point. Okay. All right, let's go to the arm guard again. Let's see what we can do with that. When it dries, the Caliban green really dulls out here, so hopefully you can get a slightly more of a deeper pop with this AK paint as a layer on top of it. I think that will have to do for the kind of Dark Angels green I'm looking for. And I missed it back when I first started painting years and years ago, before I went on my very long break, is that they used to have an actual Dark Angels green that Citadel Paints made, but they no longer have it. I guess Caliban green is the next best thing. I really love that color. That's kind of exactly why I started playing Dark Angels that many years ago back in 4th edition. But now it just is going to be spread across both Citadel and other paint companies, which I think allows it for a lot more variety for what people want to try to do and make for their models here. Can I get back there? Back here too. Okay. Yeah, that actually makes it come alive a lot more than I thought. And it's kind of hard to see because now we don't really have any contrasting because it's still on the black primer, but I think it's actually looking pretty okay for a nice dark green color to get started with. So that's nice. Let's do one last one on the on the color that we started with. Hopefully this should be able to get our first steps going along with this model. Yeah. So I guess we'll go those two steps. First some Calibanite or Caliban green, and then a little bit of the AK's dark green afterwards. Okay. Maybe just a little bit more on this corner here. There's a specific corner on this right shoulder pad, which hopefully I can get to pop out just a little bit more with this. Okay, that's a good place to start. We'll get this going. Okay, let's see. Yes, James. So yeah, most of these paints do come from hobby stores. I don't necessarily buy many online. There's a good number of stores near me. So yeah, these will normally come from hobby stores. There's a few in my area that they normally obviously sell Citadel paints, which are Games Workshop's own paints. And then again, the one that I just used right now was the AK's dark green. That's really, I don't really find this from like one specific store, but it's actually my first time using this brand too, and it looks pretty well. Normally when I'm painting, if you see all this mess of paints, this specific blue that I paint most of my Tau in is the Warpainter's Regal Blue right here. I like it quite a bit, but again, right now we're painting Dark Angels. There'll be basically no blue on them. There's going to be lots of dark greens, a bit of reds for their cloaks, and then well, I think I'll try to get started with some grays on the smoke, because especially this guy, he's got his lantern is smoking a bit, so we got a smoke trail we can try to do. It's my first time ever doing that. So yeah, you'll pick up paints, you'll collect them as you go, such as the way of a Warhammer hobbyist. That's just, you know, start collecting paints upon paints. I know some friends and some people who have shelves and shelves of them because of just the whole color range that they do, that they try to get to. So let's go back to our Caliban green here. So this is actual Games Workshop Citadel's Caliban green. I want to try, see if we can get one big area, which is going to be the power pack on his backside. Should be the same exact color scheme. And there's a very slight section here, because obviously the main part of his chest is going to be the sword and the wings for the Dark Angels, but there's a little section underneath. I think I can try to get some paint in there as well to complete that, because obviously the sword and the wings are going to be completely different. No, most stores will not let you test them up before buying. You just kind of have to look at the bottle, and I mean online as well, they'll give you profiles to like what they look like, but online you and really kind of look at the bottle and go, oh, like I guess if my camera can focus, there's enough light here, but you go, oh, like I think this is good for, you know, at least the names, especially for Citadel, you know, like they give you names based on what is it. So for Caliban green, you understand that it's for Dark Angels, because if you know anything about Dark Angels lore, right, they come from the homeworld of Caliban, so this is meant for them. But or like they give you like Wog flesh. Do I have that on this? I think I have it back somewhere else. Yeah. Or like another common one people often use is going to be a nice contrast that I use on my Tau models are going to be, if this can show up, the Imperial Fist yellow. So again, it's a contrast. Imperial Fist all yellow. Obviously, if anyone does any Imperial Fist, you'll be using a lot of that because it's part of the names. All right. Chunky Charizard boys says, "What up, thug?" Yes. Hello. You've caught us where we are doing just a bit of painting here. Hopefully, we'll see what other, if any gamers come on later tonight. But for now, this is what we're doing so far. I'm trying to paint some Inner Circle companions. So yeah, well, you caught us on a Thursday stream. We're live on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays mostly. So let's go back again, and we were on our moment here with some Caliban green here. Let's go grab some and get to painting the power pack behind the companion here. Yeah. Oh, Chunky Charles will work on some Thousand Suns. Yes, I know. Yeah, those must be quite interesting to paint, because I really like the metallics that you can get. Obviously, like the gold on their horns and on their guns. I think that is, for me, is really fun to paint. Although I need to get back to playing more Thousand Suns online, but I mean, for right now, for actually building stuff, yeah, I mean, I'm very hard stuck on doing Tau and Dark Angels. But yeah, I know Thousand Suns seems a lot of fun if you're doing the standard color schemes, because that blue and gold really, everything pops out really well. I think that's one good thing about Chaos models is that because like the way that they're sculpted, like all their horns and their things are just out there, then it's quite easy to see like what you need to paint with like the golden stripes on the horns or like on the guns. So yeah, are you working on any specific models, Charizard, or is it just like any Rubik Marines, any Rhinos? Yeah. So I don't know. At least for me, and these Citadel paints, people like him because obviously like it's Games Workshop's own paints, but I guess because the dulling effect that they have on the model, it just adds too much work for me. But I know it's important, but I just want it to be like super acrylic and just boom right there. Like, oh, you got green, there's green. But obviously for artists, having a dull paint like this allows you to work with it because it doesn't even show very well on the camera. But yes, oh you actually have building a Magnus. Oh yeah, he's gonna take forever. Yeah, it took me like I think I have because I have Tau models that I paint as well. Like I have a Storm Surge, a pretty big. No wait, well no, I haven't even started the Storm Surge. My bad. I painted a Riptide, which is a pretty large model. I think it's almost the same vertical size as Magnus, and yeah, it takes a while. But thankfully, because it's a huge robot, it just has panels to paint. But yeah, I know if someone's gonna paint like a Primarch, it's gonna take a long time, which I am kind of dreading when I need to buy the Lion and I need to paint him. That's gonna take a very long time. But yeah. And then I guess for me, I also get kind of upset sometimes with some squads because I know you also said you're doing rubrics, uh, but if you're doing like a squad of 10, it's like lots of same thing over and over again. But as you said, Charizard, if you're just swapping between rubrics and Magnus, hopefully you can get a good rhythm there. Yes, Ivan. I am painting currently a Dark Angels Inner Circle Companion. So it's a Dark Angel special unit. So it's like this kind of meant to be like the super secretive knights that recently came about in the current story. So they have nice big swords and lots of smoke to be very secretive. So yeah, these are one of my favorite models to play with. But we're just trying to finally get started to painting this on stream. Wow, were you collecting all the Primarchs, Charizard? Whoa, he got Lion, Gilliman, and Mortarion. Wow. Okay. He's just gonna collect all 6 of the playable Primarchs. Okay. Yes, the Deathwing game is strong. I do have a squad of 5 Deathwing Knights I do need to get to after this. Yeah, but because like yeah, I get it. Like the bone color obviously is like the main color for Deathwing, and everyone likes that. But I'm hoping if I can find a way to not do that, I find the bone white a little bit boring personally. But I think for my first squad, I should do them the natural colors, of course, of the bone white for the representing the Deathwing. So yeah, there was those guys I do need to get a lot more because there's a lot of detail on the shields too. Like it's a great vibe too because like you got these huge chunky Terminators just like bopping you. I mean, James knows James if he's still in the chat, he knows how well he loves my my Deathwing Knights, but it's gonna take a while for me to paint them too. But yeah, we'll get there eventually after this unit of 3, and then we'll see what it goes. Okay. Let me get some last nooks here with this backpack, and then I need to go back to his front. Yeah, Dark Metal Silver. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'll have to look into color variants. I mean, like my actual main army of Tau, just because I am a great football nerd and I love the Los Angeles Rams. They're my favorite football team. I just painted in exactly those colors. They're bright yellow and blue. People get kind of confused because those aren't really Tau colors, but I paint them how I want. But again, for at least Inner Circle, I do like their normal look. Yeah, again, I of course is drawn to Dark Angels because I love that dark green color that they're normally in. So we'll get started with this and we'll see how the rest of that goes. Yep. Okay, so let's get to, again, I'll specifically want to point out this little spot here on underneath his chest that I can hopefully get a few dollops in there just to finish that up. Because of course, I spent a whole lot of time on the wings and the sword on his chest afterwards. But go with that. I think what else? Because I still have a good. Oh yeah, we have another arm guard to do. I only did one arm guard, so let's go to the next one. Yeah, I actually need to get used to doing metallics. I'm not very good at that right now. I just paint the colors, and the colors are what they are. But I think with metallics, I know that people can have a lot of fun with them to be able to get like the right pop and shine. Again, as you said, Charizard, you're painting Thousand Suns. That pop of the gold is something that always catches my eye. Yeah, so I do play the physical game. I mean, yeah, I do. So I own right now a 2,000 point plus or minus with some models. Um, yeah, so a 2,000 on Tau, and then I'm building up my 2,000 of Dark Angels, and then I play the rest online. If you do see on the channel history, yeah, we do showcase a lot of games online. I think right now is a little bit slow of a week, so I'm just gonna paint for now. I do have some friends who might want to get on later, but yeah. So okay. Yeah. So hey, James. Well, we'll see. Yeah. Hopefully you can actually, finish building your Leman Russ. So, yeah. Hi. Thanks, Epic Bacon. Yeah. You joined us here this time. We're just painting models right now, and then we'll hopefully see what the rest of the day will carry us to. I want to try finishing the spots I need to do with the first coat, and then we'll get the second. Oh, it's so hard to reach with this section here. We're just kind of eyeballing it with the spots that are kind of hard to reach with the paintbrush. Wow, I can hardly see anything from that coat underneath his chest, man. These Citadel paints, again, they kind of get on my nerves sometimes. That when they dry, you almost kind of can't see anything, especially on a black primer. But such is the way that it goes. Okay. Let's go over to this part. Okay. Oh, the check cleared, Bacon. Wow. Okay, yeah. But whenever checks clear, man, that's a perfect time to start buying models, of course. So thankfully, I'm pretty okay. I mean, I don't know about you. Yes, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see if it's baking because usually every time on Twitch, at least once every time I'm live, a bot will come in trying to sell viewers. Of course, they always love to do that to small channels, but should be fine. But Charizard, if I don't know if you're comfortable saying just how big your wall of shame is if you also are in the process of building and painting, because at least thankfully for me, I'm pretty okay with it. I like building actually a whole lot more than painting, but painting does have its own merits to it. Yeah, Epic Bacon. There's always gonna be the big streamers that want to keep up their viewer bases. They will shell out and buy bots, but hopefully I won't be caught up in any of that. We want to build things here organically, but yes, okay, yeah. So paint, I know, yeah. My brother, who's much better painter than me, he loves the painting aspect, every step of it. But at least for me, painting's like you have to get so into it to even start. So like it gotta be like, oh, like I gotta paint today, and like let's see how it goes, and then I get started. So you have to set all this up, right? Get the wet palette, get the brushes, and then gotta make sure you get a good progress, because you can't stop until like you actually get a good place to stop, and then of course my biggest weakness is that then I go full perfectionist mode and like, oh, this stinks after I'm done painting. But at least now that we're all here on the stream, we just do it for fun, just chill and see how things go. This is my first time in a very long time since I painted any Dark Angels, so hopefully I can appreciate at least what I'm doing so far here. Oh, Charizard, you hate building. Oh, wow. Okay. 95% of Death Guard painted. Dark Angels all painted. Iron Hands, 75. Oh, wow. Yo, how many things do you have, Charizard? Wow. Yeah. But I guess yeah. I guess there's just two types of people, you know, because I'm the builder slash gamer. I love the game itself, although, and then on the other hand, my brother, who I play with IRL, like he loves the painting, he loves the lore, and he loves like just the vibes of bringing out because he's a guard player, so he rolls up with these huge tanks and blasts me off the table, but yeah, at least that's why the Warhammer is so much fun because they obviously it appeals to different types of people, so. Yes, we all have a problem if whenever you play this game. It really appeals to that level of the hobbyist because it affects you on so many different levels here. Okay, so hopefully this AK green that I'm now layering on top can give this backpack a bit more pop than I'm hoping for, especially for a bigger area. And then we'll deal with edge highlights later, bro. I really don't like edge highlights, but I know Charizard, you might have a different opinion about that. It's just so tedious. I just want this paint job to be done. All right, let's go play with them. I want these inner circles to slice up units on the field and call it a day. Yes, Epic Bacon indeed. That's the hobby store job, right? The hobby company, right? It's their job to separate a man from his money. While of course, as the hobbyist, right, it is a great escape from all the nonsense that we face in this world, right? At least the way they explain it to people that don't know or don't really know much about Warhammer, and they ask why dudes are so invested in plastic models that are painted, right? At least to me, the way I explain it, of course, is that a hobby is a way for a guy to be able to actually enjoy his own handiwork. Not worry about deadlines. Like your manager's not going to yell at you for not completing a model every day, right? And then you look back, and then you get to admire what your hands have actually, come together to make, right? At least after now, very very slowly painting my Tau army, like 60% of it is done. So I'm like, oh, I actually get guys that I can see on the board with their paint jobs done instead of just a bunch of gray models taking up space. So at least that's my thought about it, but that seems to resonate with most of the guys that I try to convert over to playing Warhammer. Yeah, okay. I think I started to realize that I didn't layer the Caliban green on his front side, so that looks kind of bad. Okay, I have to do that again. But actually, his backpack is coming out pretty okay. I think I like that. Again, it's kind of washed out. It's a nice darker green in real life than on camera, so I think I'll take that for now. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the big joke, of course, with Warhammer players is that you have the whole wall of shame with like of things that you never get around to building. But that's kind of the beauty of it is that it's not a deadline, right? So you don't have to worry about like, oh, if I don't do it, I get yelled at. Like, nah, you do it on your own time. You're able to actually, take it in a pace. Don't worry about deadlines or competition, anything like that, and just take it the way you want to. Build the way you want to. Paint the way you want to. And I think just the idea that having a completed model is just so many steps ahead. So it doesn't even matter if the paint job is really good or not. People will admire it for what it is because you went through the steps of building and then painting. Especially for people on the outside, it takes them to realize that, oh, like this guy spent time doing all this and it actually looks like something. Okay. Let's see here. I think no, we have to get his arm guard here. And then get this spot with the extra layer. And then we got his left hand. Okay. It's coming all right. Let's see. Let me think about it. Is there anything else that I need a? Sorry, I need a. This front side of his power pack is actually not looking very good. I think I need to go over with the Caliban green one more time. I didn't get that front side, but Trying to think here. So I guess his boots at the bottom, I still have to do that as well. Might as well just go through that. We have one hip plate that I think needs to be painted. And underarms too. I guess underarms too. Okay. Oh, a whole lot more. Every time I look at it, every time I finish a layer, I'm like, oh, how many more spots need to be painted the same exact thing? And there's like 10 more spots every time. So, such is a way of making sure you get every single part done. Okay. Let's get some more of that Caliban green, if I remember where I put it. Okay, where do we begin with this guy? Yes, Mazius says blood for the blood god, of course. Unfortunately, we are painting some Dark Angel. I don't know if the camera can focus. So, not in this exact scenario, but in just about every other ones, it will always be blood for the blood god. Okay. Oh, that's right. This is the model that I actually built him a little bit incorrectly. His foot is actually really off the ground, as if you might see right there. So I just cut off a bit of sprue and just stuck it under his foot as if like a bar of rebar, because I did a really good job on this guy. I completely missed the angle of his leg, so that's actually one way to do a very little bit of kit bashing, if you can even call it that. But yes. He's got the leaders, of course, as always, right? The leader's tactical rock, right? That's what they always do with models from GW. Right, the leader always has a tactical rock to point out that he's got the leadership role in the whole squad. So it checks out. So let me go through. So right now I'm doing just 2 coats. I start with 1 coat of Caliban green to get started, and then after it dries, we do 1 more coat of from AK Painters. They have a dark green that gives a nice pop. So. These are tournaments with these figures. What do you, I don't know what you mean by tournaments, but like these are legit, Inner Circle companions. These are the real Games Workshop models, right? These are from the Dark Angels chapter of the Space Marines. So yeah, these are real models. Then they're not third party or 3D printed. These are actually good old injection molded and built. So we're just going through the painting process of them. So I'm still in my current process of building up my Dark Angels army. I do play them, and let's see how this goes. Because after I'm done with some greens, I think hopefully what will make this model pop out is that I can start going over a bit of the darker red of the actual robes, his waist and his upper body robes that he wears. See, I guess I'll just try to paint his little thing that he's standing on gray later on eventually, but for now we'll live with things that are the dark green. Okay. Alright, let's try to salvage the front of his power pack. I completely messed that one up. So let's see, can we get a bit more dark green on there, please?
There you go.
Oh yes, Mazes, thank you for the follow. Let's see, you're saying here that Grand Tournament, okay. So, okay, that's, yeah. So there are, people do compete in Warhammer in the actual Grand Tournaments. I actually don't compete, I just play casually. I think for me, if I really tried to compete in tournaments, that will kind of take out a lot of the fun in the game. I mean, I do like improving my skill, and I do love the game itself, but I think playing in the more competitive nature isn't exactly my thing. But In terms of using these models, yes, these models are used. The Inner Circle Companions are very strong model for the Dark Angels to take. So a lot of tournaments would happen depending on people's areas. There's gonna be like, you know, the hobby stores or so Games Workshop, they have actual individual stores that they run. It's just usually just called either Games Workshop in the nice big orange letters, or they have Warhammer stores with the Warhammer's hammer on it, that you can see on the bottom of the Twitch stream. But they are usually spotted around a lot. There's a good amount in Europe, a good amount in my area, in California, in the United States, and then actually I will be going to some Warhammer stores in Japan in the next 2 months. Actually, I'll be traveling there to see some friends, but I will actually, hopefully I can stream some of my time there, so that'll be very interesting. Yes, yeah, because they're all around the United States, yes. So I think if Epic Bacon, you're in the Atlanta area, I'm sure there'll be plenty there. So yeah, if you want to buy models, you can buy plenty online. There's a lot of online stores. I mean, Amazon has them, of course, but they kind of mark it up a little bit. Finding the right price for models is going to be a whole skill of its own. My brother loves the fact that he can because he actually buys parts. Obviously, you get a lot of spare parts when you keep building more models, but he loves the fact that he can go onto eBay and buy more spare parts and to complete models. So, yeah. Obviously, a lot of my models come from the local game stores as well, because obviously small businesses. Mazius wants me to type it in. So these are Inner Circle Companions. Let's see. So Circle Companions. So if you type that up, that will show up obviously on the Google search. You'll see what they look like and what the actual box looks like, because they're their own models. So yeah. So if you, there's plenty of resources online. You can see how these play. I actually have used these guys on my live streams. I don't know how far the VODs go back on Twitch, but on my YouTube channel, which is the same name, Lavco Gaming on YouTube, you can be able to see the full VODs where we play live games on Tabletop Simulator, which is the online version. And yeah, these are definitely one of my favorite units that I can take. Yeah, 50 is kind of the price that it should be. It's a little bit higher, of course, adding all the tax and fees you have to do. So yeah, I mean, you can buy it straight out of Amazon if you like. If you depending on your area where you live, hopefully Google Maps might be able to help you direct you to actual physical stores, because with those guys will be able to also help you pick out things like paints and all the tools that you need to start building as well. So again, Warhammer's come a long way after all these years. That there's a lot of ways that you can get into this hobby pretty easily. Yeah. So again, if you go to a game store and you tell the person there that you're new, then they're definitely gonna want you to buy something, so they're gonna help you, right? That's the way that these stores operate. They'll be fairly friendly enough to get you started. So, all right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because no matter what, again, I mean, obviously for me, I've taught all my friends how to play this game, get them started. Again, it's the way it is, right? If you have a hobby, you want people to start, enjoying that same hobby. So if you tell people that you're new, they're most likely gonna want to help you. It's not really like, oh, you're new, ew, get out of here. No, they want more people to play. That store wants more customers. It's in their best interest to kind of help you out if you tell them that you're new. Okay, so that kind of saved the front of his power pack. That's quite nice. Hopefully it will look something similar to this nice green color when it's dried up there. Let's go to his foot here. So let's see if we can get the second layer. So doing that second layer of the AK's dark green gives that greenish color a little pop with the 2 layers on them. Hopefully. They can do some extra layers on his arm guards. They're not exactly as good as I thought they'd look. The Fish People faction, yes, of course, yeah. So that's actually the next faction that I do play. That's called the Tau. Let's see if I can get a model real quick. So I paint them a little bit different because they're obviously, the box shows them painted in white. That's like the main color of their army. But I actually have my full army. They're not all painted. It's a long work in progress. But let's see, my main guy here. Let's see if I can grab him real quick. Oh, now I gotta showcase my entire thing here. Let's see. So there is a difference to the level of painting skill. Hang on. Oh, I unplugged my headset. We're doing amateur hour now. Yeah, so let's see. So this is one that my brother painted for me. He's the best painter that I know. So he painted the Great Leader, Commander Farsight, like this. I asked him to paint in the Rams colors. Again, this is not this model should not look like this, right? This guy's painted red. Right? That's what he looks like in the lore in this in like the actual box, right? But because my favorite football team is the Rams, I asked him to paint in the blue and yellow as it does, and it came out like this. So my brother's been painting for over 15 years, so he actually has quite a good skill on this. While I'm struggling to get the right green to show up on this guy. So no, again, Maizes, you do not have to follow the color of the books. You can paint them however you want. So at least for me, I'm trying to. No, you will not, Maizes. No, yeah. So if you're competing, they just need them painted, because that's kind of part of the rule. But if you paint you paint however you want. No one's like, if you have a creative idea, like I want to paint these guys blue because such and such reason, like no one's gonna really yell at you. It's this is a way to be creative about it, so you can paint them like in the box art or however else that you want to. So it's not really that big of a deal, because again, this is a form of art. You're supposed to express the way that you like to see things. So yeah. Okay, let's see here. I think who else needed the extra layer? I think this arm guard part. Yeah, so I guess just for me, I mean, I am kind of impatient sometimes, and I just want this paint job to be over because this is 1 out of 3 models. It's actually supposed to be 1 out of 6. I didn't buy the second set of 3 models, so I just know I have so much more to go, but we might as well get this going here so I can actually get one fully painted to get to show to people. Yeah, so exactly, yeah. So because the Warhammer 40k universe is really big, it's not necessarily that you're painting anything wrong per se, because there are plenty of things that are not fully explored in the actual story, because this all happens in the Milky Way galaxy, which is absolutely large and humongous. So again, even though it doesn't look like anything from the box, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong either, because it could be any part of the whole universe that the whole setting of Warhammer 40k spans through. Okay, so let's see. Any other greens I need to go over? No, I thought I painted his knuckles there on the wrist, but it's not showing up. Okay. Always remember, it looks really green when the paint is wet, but when it dries, it really dulls out either way. So that's something I need to keep remembering every time I add another layer of paint. So I think that's one of the hardest rules I need to remember every time, is that because of course these are all water-based paints and they're basically transparent, the layers are very, very important if you're looking to get any sort of meaningful pop from any of these colors. So that level of patience is something that I have been training to hopefully reach one day, because I get really, really angry if I see that I just painted this part of his fist, but it's not showing green. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the way things go with any sort of, hobby or tournament, that there are going to be smelly people that do not take their personal hygiene very well, right? But no, I mean, at least in my experience, it's not in the sense that you're always going to meet smelly people in tournaments. But then again, I mean, like, it is an unfortunate reality that some people just really, really prefer not to take care of their bodies and just show up to these events. So hey, it's not that it's not going to happen, but it's most likely not going to. Okay. I think I want to move on to some reds now. I used up all my green paints that I pulled out so far. Let's see if we can try to get something going for his robe, and maybe the green and red can start coming together here. So let's take a leap of faith and let's get going with a different color here. And how is my wet palette doing? It is quite hot in my room. Need to make sure that this wet palette is sufficiently hydrated so that my paints don't dry up in the middle of painting here. So are we doing good here? Is there any excess? We can go a bit more. Let's throw a bit of extra water here on the side. On this side as well. Okay. Let's make sure it's nice and evenly spread so we keep to make sure that these paints don't dry out on me. All right. So for our reds here, I think we start with, we usually go darker to lighter every time. Yeah, so we got a nice dark Gal Vorbak red from Citadel Paints. This should hopefully get a good baseline for his robes. And we move it up to some, afterwards, we'll try to layer on some Screaming Pink for a nice poppier purplish pink color. That's kind of what hopefully will contrast with the dark greens of the armor pieces with the actual robes going from his legs all the way up his chest. So let's see if we can get something going here. I think, do I have a bigger brush as well? Because it's a larger area that I need to get to. Let me check. Is there any larger brush I can use? So number 2. Is there a number 1 that I have? Or is that how the brush sizes work? Man, the brush size I don't understand here very well. Oh, the number 1's on it. It's really big. Ah, screw it. We'll keep the same brush. Okay, so let's get some of this Gal Vorbak red here. Let's get some going on this wet palette on this section back here. Okay, let's see what this looks like on the model itself. And see how we can work through this. That's not too bad. We definitely will need a lot of coats on this to be able to fully cover every little piece. So, again, hopefully, it actually already looks a nice purple on its own. Yeah. Epic Bacon says, I'm excited to get back in the game. A buddy of mine printed up a bunch of Primaris Marines to replace all the Firstborn. Okay. Clean them up. I think I'll try my hand at the slap chop. Yeah, I get recommended slap chop as well, but I just simply like the idea of just going through the layers that I see fit here. But yeah, I mean, yeah, printing models adds a little excitement because you can get a lot of customization in there. I know, yeah, that's kind of one thing that people always are scared about is that if their models ever get phased out. But a lot of times, like if it's not really that big of a deal, like I just still use old models, at least for me as well. As a Tau player, I first got introduced way back when Tau first came out in the 4th edition of Warhammer all those years ago. And I remember the old broadside, because the broadside battle suits, they're anti-tank war suits. The first time they released them, they had 2 rail guns attached to their shoulders, and it looked amazing. Unfortunately though, I think it was the 6th or 7th edition, they phased that one out, and now he just has this one big gun in his hands. So that kind of stank. I really like the old model of just having that walking battle suit with 2 massive railguns on his shoulders, ready to blast some tanks off the board. But like, I'm actually kind of jealous because I do know some people that have those old models, and I wish I still had them because I never got on to buying those when they were making them like that. But nonetheless, though, hopefully we can. I'll still live with the fact that I love broadside battles because they are definitely one of the best in the game. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Tau is not. I mean, it hasn't been played that often as well, especially since before their rework, because they weren't a very good faction at the start of 10th edition. But I didn't care. Again, I was playing back in 4th edition. I still play the same exact factions I did back then. So it doesn't matter if the Tau are hot garbage. It doesn't matter if they're like the most meta. I'm still playing them. So yeah, I know for some people, like Tau is kind of least known because like you gotta know all their weapons, like know all the crazy stuff that they do. And I know if James is still here on the YouTube side of things, he loves watching. Well, again, sarcastically, he loves watching his tanks blow up from my Tau models, taking him straight off the board. But yeah, I mean, without a doubt that yeah, Blood Angels vs. Tau, yeah, that's a classic matchup as well. Yep. Yeah, again, there's James. Yeah, I know. James is a great victim of seeing my Tau guns just rip through his tanks and deal ungodly amounts of damage to his very wonderful tanks that he gets to see blow up off the table. Yeah. Yeah, Blood Angels is quite the faction because you just just run at them. I think that's kind of the funniest. I think that's what makes like full melee armies like Blood Angels, World Eaters. I think that's quite a lot of fun too to play sometimes, just because you win the game if you just run at them and and good luck out meleeing them. So that's a lot of fun. Okay, I think I'm gonna need them. That paint's getting kind of watered down, so let's go get some more here. And let's keep going around his great skirt here, and hopefully we can get to our second layer and see what that looks like, if that is actually acceptable here. Okay, so let's thin this out here a little bit, and we can get back to it. Yeah, let's see. So I guess that's also one thing that when you talk about things like Blood Angels and other Space Marines, I do miss the epic heroes being made out of metal. That is something that I missed from back then, because that added a lot more personality, because those models were heavy. It took a little bit of extra effort to paint, but I think it really added a lot more character to, especially like their swords, because their swords are also made out of metal, of course. So I really loved that back then. But unfortunately, I think Games Workshop realized it's not really worth that much to invest in having a whole different method of making models out of metal when you can just make everything out of plastic. So sadly, that's the way hobbies progress sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, adding weight, yes, adding weight to models does make a difference too. Like you said, Epic Bacon, yeah, putting washers on the bases of models. I mean, the close thing to me is that I do magnetize, because my holding carrier is magnetic, so I glue neodymium magnets to the bottoms of the bases so that they can stick to the traveling cases. But yeah, I mean, still, yeah, I like the hefty feel. That's why I like tanks so much, because you just kind of push them across the board with all their glorious heft that they have to them. Oh, that's actually not too bad to get a good, easy reddish color to contrast the green of the backside. So that's actually coming out pretty nice. Okay. Let's go back to the front. Let's go back with another coat here to fill in where the pigments weren't all there yet. The metal 3D printing. There's obviously, but maybe yeah. I have heard that people were trying to do something like that. I wonder I wonder as well if hydro dipping will also get like that precise enough where you can just hydro dip a model and it comes out fully painted. I think that'll be really funny. But yeah, but I think metal 3D printing, that'll be interesting as well. If you print with like aluminum, because like technically gallium would be the easiest metal to print with, but it's way too expensive. So most likely aluminum will be the material. But also I think that's kind of the next thing too, because like for most, yeah, it is with the, that's why you can laser print. Yeah, people do that with the powdered metals, but I think one thing is that obviously for actual hobbyists, because like the cost of operating a machine like that, because even with like current 3D printing, like yeah, like if you want the level of detail, because obviously injection molding, the way Games Workshop does, you can get a whole lot of detail for very easy. But 3D printing, obviously, it matters both on the machine that you use and the level of detail on the actual CAD file that you're using. Again, it just adds a whole lot of complexity, because yeah, like when you look at 3D printed models, there is a slight issue with like scaling and the detail level of detail because of the limitations there. So it will take the years that you did mention there, Epic Bacon, of how long it takes for the technology and the level of detail that these machines will get to, so that people can actually get a comparable 3D printed model straight from the injection molding line that Games Workshop uses. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So resin is good, at least for itself, and because obviously right now too, when you play the Horus Heresy game mode of Warhammer, yeah, everything's made out of resin. So resin is coming a very far way, but yeah, we'll see if when it starts becoming a lot more comparable. Okay, let's go back to his front side here. I want to make sure we can get as many before we get to the next layer of the brighter red. Get every single part of this done. I think I want to try focusing just on his skirt, if you can call it that, just his legs, so that we can just see what that looks like in contrast with the dark green that I've painted on so far. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's still part of his robe underneath too. Okay, so we'll make sure we paint that in as well. Yeah, because so the last time I saw some resin models was that I had a friend who also plays Tau, and then he went on eBay and he got in contact with someone who resin molds some of the Legends models, so they're like the older models that Games Workshop no longer makes. There's some stealth drones that you can use, but again, Games Workshop doesn't make them anymore, so the support is over. But those came out pretty okay. I mean, because they're bigger models, like it worked out. It's just that I can definitely see and feel the difference in quality of the model itself because it was made out of resin. But I mean, it was playable. Everything seemed fine. So it's just that, yeah, for those who really care about like how the feel of the model and how it looks and how you paint on it, those obviously make a lot of difference for some people. But I think hopefully when I start getting to that level, because I mean, right now we'll see how well I can do it with Tau as well, but especially with Space Marines, because a lot of people online do sell parts of these things molded online. You can get a very good bargain, just like because obviously if you keep building more models, you get all the spare pieces around everywhere. So I hopefully will be able to save a good amount of money by reusing parts and mix and matching them with once I get online, so I can get another unit of hopefully maybe even these guys eventually, because even though I shouldn't, I do want to get a full 18 of these just because I can. But we'll see. Okay. So let's get this all sorted out here. Finish with the last few layers. Okay. I think the backside is ready, so we'll focus on the backside here. So I want to do the second layer. So this is going to be with the Screamer Pink. And we'll see how that looks like layered on top of the darker red. Make sure I just clean off my brush of all remaining paint. And let's get to this. All right. So some Screamer Pink from Citadel. Hopefully this can add, again, a little bit of a pop to his very dull red skirt that he's wearing. Okay. All right. Let's have a look here. So if we start layering some on here, oh yes, that definitely pops out a bit more. Okay. I think I'm starting to like that a lot more now. Though I don't necessarily have any good contrast paints to wash this over with afterwards. I might have to get that at the store next time. Okay. That really helps out with this backside. So that's a good, very good pop. So I think that will help out with that dark green. And something's got to happen with this dark green. It's not exactly getting to the level of brightness. Maybe a few more layers of the AK will have to follow up with this. But for now, let's finish up the skirt. And let's have a good look at what this looks like completed. with that. I need to make sure I really get those fringes there too. Don't want to mess those up. Okay, there's one last section here. Still some parts in the underneath layer that I need to get. Okay. All right, that actually came out pretty well for having his skirt in this great pinkish color there. And then hopefully, again, if I can get that dark green to pop out a bit more, we are well on our way to actually making this guy come alive. So let's go with a few more layers of AK's dark green on his armor pieces, and hopefully we can get what we are looking for here. Or I might need to eventually later on get some lighter green, a little bit lighter green contrast paint maybe. But I still need to do edge highlighting. Oh, I do not like edge highlighting, but that'll come in its own time. Let's not think about that. I don't know if I'm triggering Charizard if you still hear about my issues with edge highlighting, but well, the hood is going to be the same color, yeah. So all the robes should be the same exact pinkish color. I just want to get to a little bit of the green. I want to see how well those play off each other. It's the green versus the pink of these robes, because all the robes are exactly one piece, so it's all going to be the same exact color. Yeah, I just want to get to his green arm pieces again because I really want to see how those two play off each other. Yeah, so let's have a look here. Can I possibly get a lighter green if possible? Just a bit more so we can get his armor pieces to pop out a bit more. That's going to kind of be the main two highlights, and eventually his sword once I get to that, but that's kind of what's going to attract the eye line a bit, is that he's got the dark green armor, really nice bright, almost bright pinkish robes, and a great big sword, and a bit of smoke coming off his lantern. I like how it looks when the paint is wet, but when it dries, I don't know, it loses so much of its kick as a color. because I'm just expecting too much out of a dark green color that AK Paints made. Okay, let's go back to the front. I keep forgetting about his front of his power pack. This definitely needs a lot more color to it. Not really getting anything at all out of it. Let me spread this around here. Okay, oh, that's all out of focus here. But anyways, though, we just want to maybe make sure that we can get all of this showing here properly. If I need to keep layering on the same paint over and over again, I will have to, just to get that level of the green that I want on his armor. So we need a good backdrop for the shoulder pad, because when I start painting the wings and the sword of the shoulder pad, I definitely will need a good green drop back to make that stand out when people finally take notice of that. This arrow was messing me up in the middle of my paint here. Okay. Okay. We'll see when it dries. That's my biggest concern right now. All right, back to his arm guards again. This layer after layer, that's where the patience need to come in. I'll get the right green that I want. Just gotta slap on another one. It looks great when the paint is wet, but I don't know. This one, just that when it finally starts drying, it just kind of loses a lot of its flavor there. See, let's go back to that. So this is drying. It's kind of there, kind of not. Man, what are we gonna do? I layered so many on his, especially in the backside of his power pack here. Oh, maybe I'm just thinking, maybe I'm just hoping for too much pigment out of something that's not gonna show like that. Where do these pigments go? This is like my third time going over his hand over the lantern. Oh man. Will the camera focus on this for a second here, please? Just make sure we can actually see something, because maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me. But and that's the best that can be done, I suppose. Could actually be this coat will be the one. Let's get that corner again here. Wait, hang on. I thought I painted that shoulder pad, no, that hip pad. Oh, no, my eyes are playing tricks on me. The camera can see the slightest bit of green on his hip pad there, but I cannot see anything. Well, I suppose I am legally blind in some aspects, but man, that hip pad is just taunting me right now. Hey, the pigment doesn't seem to want to stay. It seems a lot better on camera all of a sudden. Suppose it'll be my job to just keep making sure that we go back to those spots again to layer on another one. Okay. I do like the color there. We'll see how the rest of this looks as we keep going. Okay. The rest of this we have to wait for. Well, we still got this hand here, and then we need to go over every time. Under his arm too, actually, kind of missed that. Okay. Well, that is how we're gonna layer that for now. I think we'll appreciate how the green looks for now. I'm gonna have to come back to another layer after this. But let's see if we can finish up the rest of his robes. He got his upper chest area and then his hood as well. So let's see how well this goes. See, I think I need to send out a message first, and then we'll start collecting some paints here. What the? What's that? Use this napkin now. Okay. Let's see here. So let's go again. Same thing here. So it's gonna be his robes on his chest here. It's kind of off the side. It's kind of hard to see, but he's got some on the sides in his hood. Let's see if we can get through that. Let's see if we can start with our Gal Vorbak red again, and get some more of this to get started with. If I don't knock my camera everywhere. All right, so let's get this going here. This light needs to be in my favor here, please, so I can start seeing this. Make sure we go underneath the power pack here, not on it. Make sure we can get this here. I suppose these are still all rope colors here. So make sure we get quite precise on these next few moments here. turning this guy around every time I reach another layer. Okay, very good. Do we have enough paint here to get the rest of his hood? Oh, it's going to be a thing of wondering if you have enough paint to get the next section, but I don't think I will. I'm going to get a bit more to finish up his top of his hood. Okay, that's a good place to start with that. So now we can get back to the chest area and then to the back where we can do our Screamer Pink and make his robes pop out a bit more. All right, let's get some of this Screamer Pink here and let's get to layering on some more. I have to make sure, these Citadel pots, it's kind of hard to really make sure that they're all locked tight so they don't dry out next time you use them. Okay, let's go back to his upper body here and let's get this Screamer Pink on there. Make sure we can get that inner hem as well. Okay. All right, let's get this. Oh, I completely forgot about this arm and a little bit of cloth that goes underneath there. Okay, we'll have to come back for that. Oh, okay. Well, I think Twitch just yelled at me that we lost connection there for a second. I think we should be okay. Oh dear. What is happening to our internet? No, YouTube is completely fine. Twitch looks like it's just having some troubles here. Can we not make a connection? I'm streaming. I'm streaming on both YouTube and Twitch. Oh, there you go. Yeah, YouTube disconnected. What is happening? Okay, YouTube's back. Twitch. Okay, I think it's all back now. That was a little bit weird. Let's make sure that we get all these coming back here. Right? Dude, what is going on with my internet? I just keep connecting and disconnecting. Hello? Do I need to restart something here? All right, is it properly back? Okay. I think this is properly back. Okay, sorry. We were having a few problems here with the bitrate there. I think we should be back now. If it will show for my other screens here. No, we're losing frames again. Oh, come on. Okay. We'll just have to go with it for now. I think it might fix itself eventually, so we'll just continue here. All right, we'll continue with our layer of that Screamer Pink we're working on here. Still working on to get these back sides of these robes for now. Dude. Oh my goodness. Oh, give me a second here. I think I'm gonna have to change networks here. All right, this is getting annoying. Let me change networks real quick, and then we'll see if we can get a better connection now. Okay. Would this have worked? Need to reconnect. And it's even worse when I swap. Okay. Bro, oh man, okay, I think we have to cut this short, sadly. I'm not getting anything at all right now. Okay,